How about now? Is this any better? All right. Yay. Very good. Okay. Sorry about that. I have yet to encounter that difficulty with that set of headphones, but anyway, we're good now. Again, thanks for joining me today for our boys basketball state finals planning webinar. My name's Kurt Gibson. I'm on the administrative staff here at IHSA, and I'm our boys basketball administrator. And I think, as I mentioned in my email earlier this week, the one thing I've learned and through my experiences here in this position is that it is an incredibly quick turnaround from the time the schools who win their super sectional games on Tuesday leave the super sectional venue and then have to report to Peoria on Thursday afternoon. Incredibly quick turnaround. There's a lot to process. While we take pride in putting everything together and getting information out, we also realize that it can be a somewhat daunting task. So I've gone to holding this little pre-planning webinar to give you some things maybe to think about over the weekend should your school keep advancing. And then it makes, I think what I've gotten from folks is it just makes next week and planning and trying to figure some things out go a little bit more smoothly. This webinar is being recorded. We'll have a recorded version, an archived version available no later than tomorrow. I'll find a place to put it on our website, or I'll send you a link to it directly so that if you want to go back and review it or have somebody else look at it as the next few days goes on, you can do that. Certainly no obligation. I would encourage you to use the attendee chat area if you have questions during the presentation, and we'll try to answer those. I'll be monitoring that as we go through things here today. So I'm going to disappear now. You didn't come to this meeting to look at me, so I'm going to disappear, but we'll keep the presentation going here. Maybe I won't go away. Shouldn't be there. Oh, there we go. Very good. Okay. So I do hope that the state series has been an exciting time for your school so far. I know we're reaching the sectional final round in our boys class 1A and 2A tournaments, and still a number of games to go. But certainly your school getting to this point is, in my mind anyway, a reflection of the leadership they get, the players and the coaches get from the administrators and teachers at your school. So we thank you for that. And as we go through, not only today, but in the next week or so, if you have questions, please feel free to reach out to me at the email address you see there. I'm always getting my email, so I'll be able to respond in a pretty timely fashion. So today what we want to talk about and start giving you some information on is we want to talk about lodging, tickets, credentials and passes at the state finals, and then awards. So let's dive right into lodging. And I probably should take a half step back. When your school, for those schools that win their super sectional game on Tuesday night, one of the things you'll be given by the manager is a box. And in that box is what we like to believe is everything you need to get from that moment until you and your team arrive in Peoria on Thursday. So there's information in there about lodging and tickets and awards and all the kinds of things we're going to talk about here. But let's first talk about lodging. This year, as in other years, the Pere Marquette and the Courtyard by Marriott will be our tournament host hotels. They are located literally a block away from the Civic Center if you've not been to Peoria. And you can get to the Civic Center by using even a covered walkway that goes from the hotel directly into the Civic Center. So if the weather's not cooperating, you won't even have to go outside. We've been fortunate over the years with the experiences that our schools have had in staying at the hotels. They're both excellent properties, and they'll be more than willing to meet all the needs that you might have. We have already set aside in a block 15 rooms for each of the schools that reach the state finals. But note right there in that that second black bullet point on this slide, all the room costs are the responsibility of the school. We will be, and we'll talk more about this for the schools that qualify on Thursday night at our administrators meeting. Our office provides the schools that reach the state finals a stipend that is designed to, there's a flat fee component, and the flat fee is based on how far away from Peoria your travel is. And on top of that flat fee, there is an additional mileage component that gets added in. So generally speaking, the design of the stipend is to help cover, if not all, a very good portion of any rooming costs that you might have. Now, the 15 rooms that have been, sort of held in a block for each school are for your school to use as you sort of see fit. If you're going to have more needs, let's say for the players and coaches, you find out you really only need 10 rooms and you've got these 5 rooms left over, you don't have to use them, or you could use them for cheerleaders. If you have additional needs, when you call the hotel to make your reservations and provide them credit cards and all that kind of stuff, then you can make those arrangements at that time. So the 15 rooms are really designed with the school in mind. You may need more, you may not need them all. What we've tried to do to bring some kind of organization, I guess, for lack of a better word, to the process, we've tried to sort of designate to help the hotel out, what schools should go where. We've just really gone to a home and away kind of situation, as you can see here. In case you were wondering, and sometimes people do, how did my school end up here and not there? Type of deal. This year, we're going to have all the schools that will be on, that will be the away team on Friday. Your hotel will be the Pear Marquette, and then the home teams will be at the Courtyard. You're in the same hotel for the whole weekend, but like I said, just to provide some organization and just to make it easy for the hotel to know, okay, what are we going to do? Who are we going to put where? We've gone to this little process a few years ago. And you can see the name of your contact, and that'll be included in the super sectional box. One of the things right there on top is a welcome letter from the hotel. And Caitlin Rogers, you see her number there. She will be your contact should your school qualify for the state finals. So that's how we handle lodging. Next are tickets. This is, and at the state finals, it's going to be a little different than maybe during the rest of the tournament. There is no pass list at the state finals. In order to have a seat, everyone needs a ticket. Inside the box, there will be 600 tickets for each day of the state finals. How you sell those is up to you. If you want to sell them as you got to buy Friday to get a Saturday ticket, you can do that. If you want to sell just Friday tickets or just Saturday tickets or sell them separately, you can do that. All tickets are $11, and it's the responsibility of each school to bring their ticket money and their unsold tickets with them on Thursday to their school shoot around, and then we will escort you, I should say, up to the Civic Center box office where you'll reconcile with the box office personnel. But again, how you choose to sell the tickets is your prerogative. We're going to look at a seating chart, if you will, of the Civic Center here in a second. But it's important to note that a couple of years ago now, we moved to primarily inside the arena. All seats are general admission. And we did that really sort of at the request of our schools. The schools that were participating, they felt like that would make things easier. At the same time, we've also tried to create some sections, I'll call it closer to the floor for your student fans. We wanted to bring them down nearer the action. And we think that by going to this approach, it's accomplished that. Although we're gonna be honest on the front end and say, look, we don't profess to know if this is the best or the right thing to do, but it's the system we're currently using. We will identify for your fans where their sections are each day. So when your fans come into the arena, they'll be directed. There'll be televisions in the concourses telling everybody whose fans sit where. There will be signs hanging from the concourse. We have people now saying we have no sound. Okay. Hmm. How about now? Still anything? Nothing? Yes. What is Aaron Mertz from Indian Creek's on here? Yes. Good now. We're still good here. Oh, maybe I was looking at an old post there. I'm sorry. Okay. Oh, I see. I apologize. I was misreading some of your posts. Sorry about that. Um, so what I was saying is there will also be signs hanging in the concourse by school names saying this school you're seating over here. So if you can sort of let your fans know if they come to the Civic Center, they just got to look around and we'll have ushers there to help people find their sections. But all the seating and the seating for the tickets that you're going to be selling will be general admission tickets, and then your fans can come in and sit, how they want to sit with a certain friend or whatever. You don't have to worry about selling them tickets that are necessarily next to one another. We'll also point out, and we'll see some more information on this. The Civic Center does, our event is no different than any other event that's conducted there. So metal detectors will be in place. They will have a bag policy, I believe, and all that information we're going to see in a second. And it's also in the super sectional box. It's on our website. So that's also something that you'll want to be communicating to your fans. So here is the Civic Center layout that's set up for our tournament. And you can see there are two kinds of, describe it like this, two kinds of seats in here. We have some like purple bluish seats, and there are a lot of those. And then there are two areas of reserve seats. And you can see that those are, they run the width of the length of the floor rather, sections 12, 13, and 14, which is on the side of the scorer's table, and sections 1, 2, and 24, which are opposite the table. Those seats are reserved. Our season ticket holders, some of our MME sponsors, legislative commissioners sit in those seats. There are sometimes some of those available. The box office would sell those. Those are not seats IHSA sells. But the seats that you'll be getting to sell to your fans are going to be seats that generally represent the corner of the arena. So, for example, somebody will get seats. Well, you're not getting seats in these sections. You're going to get tickets that say general admission. But when your fans come into the arena, there'll be like, for example, section 8, 9, and 10. That'll be designated for a school. When you come in, it'll say, my son goes to Bloomington High. So Bloomington High School, your fans are in sections 8, 9, and 10. And then fans of Bloomington will be able to go and get in the seats in sections 8, 9, and 10. If we just look at sections 8, 9, and 10, if we look down by the floor, the corner of the floor, I'll call it the upper left-hand corner of the playing floor, which is right in the middle of this slide. That third, 1/3 section of the baseline seats, we call that a pan. That's where the student fans for sections 8, 9, and 10, whatever school that is, that's the area we want the student fans to go into. We'll have a chair or two, maybe some more down there for school administrators. So just like when you're at your gym and you're, monitoring your student fans sort of over by there, wherever their little area is, that'll be set up for school administrators too. However, your other fans, and if you're not going to be down there as a school administrator, we'd ask that you try to have some adults down there. Otherwise, you're going to need to have a ticket to have a seat. Can't emphasize that enough. There's not a pass list at the state finals. We're going to talk about credentials in a minute, but those credentials are really designed to get you access to places in the arena that other fans can't get into. So if you want to have a seat for any game, you're going to need a ticket, and all those tickets are $11. So what we typically do then is during a session, we'll have the four corners. So sections 8, 9, and 10, 16, 17, and 18, 20, 21, and 22, and 4, 5, and 6. Those are designated for the four sets of fans. You'll also be receiving information about bus parking. So if you're bringing fan buses down, and we hope you do, there will be information about who you contact with the Civic Center parking staff, because they'll direct you where to come in, where to bring your buses in, where you can unload your students, and then where they'll be picked up when the game's over. And depending on where your seating location is, will dictate where your fan buses come in as well. So that would be another piece to the puzzle that you'll want to be on the lookout for when you're opening up the super sectional box. So that's how the ticket situation is handled. Here we see then some information from the Civic Center that talks about their security procedures. This information on the left is available on our website. It's also going to be a part of the super sectional material that we give to your school. It'll be part of information we go over with you Thursday night for those schools that qualify. And this document, like I said, is on our website right now. If you go to the boys basketball page and look in the center column, and this slide shows you all the different ways that we've communicated or in the process of communicating it. Essentially, there are three main areas where a fan could enter the arena, and the main thing that the Civic Center wants to convey to folks is if they follow the procedures that we've set out, or that the Civic Center set out, I should say, then the process is designed so that once a fan has come in and has been checked, then they can move freely within the arena to the March Madness experience, to concessions, and not have to go through any more kind of security checks. But when they leave the Civic Center, then that's when they could run into situations where they have to be checked and go through security and or a metal detector a second or third time. So if you could just communicate that to your fans, we'd certainly we'd really appreciate that as well. And you can even see on this little I know it's a little hard to see, but on the map on the left hand side, if you look at the top, that little white rectangular thing sticking out of the theater shows you where the Sky Bridge is to the hotel. So you'd come in by the theater if you walked over on the Sky Bridge, and then you'd come in and go through security check over by the March Madness experience. So really, the key takeaway there is just making sure your fans know that there will be security checks, and this document that you see on the left also talks about the kinds of things that are prohibited, and talks about the size that bags have to be in order to come into the arena as well. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is credentials. We talked about the need and importance of everybody has to have a ticket if they want to have a seat at the state finals, but we do provide credentials for select folks. And these credentials, like I said, enable people access to parts of the arena that fans, ordinary fans, let's say, aren't able to get into. We're going to provide your school, for those that qualify, up to 15 participant passes. So those are for your players. Your players, beginning on Friday, will need to not lose these credentials. We don't have replacements. So you might want to think one thing sometimes schools do is they put somebody in charge of those when the team is not in the arena. When the team comes into the arena beginning Friday, we'll have security at their entrance, because we're going to ask that the teams enter a designated entrance, and we'll coach them up on that. If your team wins the super sectional, you're going to find very quickly, either Tuesday night or Wednesday morning, that you're going to have a team host assigned to you. A team host is a local Peoria person who's essentially a basketball fan, might have a connection to one of the local schools, but he will be charged with sort of helping you get around town if you have any needs about wanting to have a practice scheduled somewhere, if you need to know a name of a good restaurant to feed the team, or what's the best way to get from A to B, that person's there for that purpose. And that person will help you with, entering and leaving the arena. But we'll have a designated entrance that everybody comes through. And when the players come through on Friday and Saturday, they'll present their participant pass to our game management group. And when your team is in the arena, we will collect and hold on to the player passes. That way, those won't be lost. They won't get thrown in the pile of uniforms that are dirty after the game or something, or won't get lost in a bag. We'll hang on to those. Additionally, your school will get 7 team personnel passes, and those are for people like coaches, I should say assistant coaches, because we're going to give your head coach one of those team personnel patches. It'll be on a lanyard, and we're going to ask that he wear that during the games. We're going to give your assistant coaches, you get up to 7 team personnel, and that would be for your coaches. If you had a manager, if you had a videographer, some people, if they don't have a whole bunch of people in their entourage, maybe you'll give one to your scorekeeper. But even if you don't give one of these passes to your scorekeeper is going to need a way to get into the arena. And so they would then need a ticket to come down to the table. We'll have places at the scorer's table for the scorer from each team to sit next, or by, I should say, the official scorer. But those team personnel credentials are designed for either high school students, like managers or videographers, or coaches who have met all IHSA coaching requirements. Our space is limited in Peoria, particularly under the arena, and we want to keep that area safe. So we believe that our basketball state finals, and actually all of our state finals, are high school events. And so in basketball at the state finals, we do not allow non-high school students to be with the team's entourage. So in other words, if you've got a grade school student, for example, who has been the towel boy or the water boy or the ball boy or the manager all season long, and he's not a high schooler, he will not be allowed on Friday and Saturday to be with the team in the locker room, on the bench. He will not be able to receive one of your team personnel passes. Those are reserved for high school students or coaches who have met the coaching criteria. I've mentioned that because I don't know everybody's situation. I'm guessing some of you have non-high school students who are filling those kinds of roles, and this would be something that you'll want to start talking to folks about, or whenever you think it's appropriate. But at least this is on your radar now, and it at least won't surprise those of you who are participating in today's webinar or will watch it between now and next week. Additionally, at our administrative meeting, we'll give each school 5 administrative passes. Again, those are designed to get people into places in the arena that fans otherwise are not going to be able to get into. So that means like the locker room area, under the arena, over by the media area. You'll be able to stay with the team if you want. But again, those are not tickets. Those don't get you a seat in the arena or a seat on the bench. So, but they will get you this additional access. It'll get you on the floor when it comes time for awards. So that's the purpose of those, and we would ask that you only give those to administrative kinds of folks. You'll also get cheerleading passes, and you can see that we provide 14 cheerleading passes during the state finals. If your cheerleaders come to the tournament, and we hope they do, you can only have 12 on the floor at a time. So if you have more than 12 cheerleaders, what we do is we allow you to swap out at halftime. So let's say you had 18 cheerleaders. You're going to need tickets for 6 of them. 12 will be able to come in with their cheerleader pass. And then at halftime, The 6 girls who are going to leave the floor and go sit up in the stands will go up in the stands and give their cheerleader pass to their teammate, who will then come down and join the other cheerleaders on the floor for the second half. We provide a pass for your cheerleader coach, and then if you have a mascot, one for your mascot as well. On Thursday, we'll talk about where we meet for the cheerleaders, how we come into the arena, all that kind of good stuff. But it's just important, I think, for you to know what we're going to provide for them in advance. And then if your school has a athletic trainer or a team doctor, we'll provide a pass for that person. You'll be providing us that name over the course of the next week, and we verify that the person is either a physician or a certified athletic trainer. And once we do that, then our medical coordinator will provide that pass to that specific individual. And that usually happens on Thursday when the team comes in for their shoot around. So your player passes and the team personnel passes, I'll be distributing to the team when they come in on Thursday. But those other passes that you see here, administrative, cheerleading, the medical is taken care of apart from me. But the cheerleading and the administrative ones we'll distribute, I should say, at our meeting on Thursday night, which is at 6 o'clock in the Civic Center. And again, there's a lot more information that you'll get about that. And you can see that it's even reminders down here at the bottom of the screen on this slide. Over there to the right are what the passes look like. So you can see they're an attractive blue for the team personnel for 1A, 2A, and then a nice reddish maroon for the team. Oh, team personnel is blue and the team participants are red/maroon. So that's how we handle credentials. Like question, what type of pass would we give a team photographer who is a teacher in our building? Great question. If you have media like that, school photographer, yearbook, school newspaper, you would work through Matt Troha. He's our media coordinator, and you can make those requests through him, and then he approves those, and those then are able to be picked up by the individual at our media check-in area. So that's a great question. Okay, appreciate your time. We're getting close to the end here. I'm going to stick around when we're done if you have any questions. But then finally, we have awards, and that sort of culminates the weekend. Early in the week, possibly as soon as Monday or Tuesday, you'll get a first draft, I'll call it, of a document like you see over there on the left-hand side. And we'll put that together based on information that your school's likely already been submitting through the school center. We'll start putting coaches together. We'll have a roster. We'll start putting that together. We'll know who your administrators and whatnot are. And the idea is we're going to work together over the week to narrow that down and get that list looking exactly how we want it to look for our award ceremony on Saturday. All the awards will be given out for each class following the championship game. If you haven't seen it, it's about the third year, I think, where we've done this. It's really a nice ceremony. Maybe if you watch the girls basketball tournament this weekend, watch one of the championship games when it ends, you'll see what I mean. But we've got all 4 teams out on the floor, and we've got our awards podium at center court, and we go through fourth, third, second, and then first, giving out medallions and trophies to each of the 4 teams. Now, there are limits on the number of people you can have receive awards, and that's part of what you see here with that form on the left and then what we work through on the right. We'll ask that we've got this form tightened up and sent to me no later than, I usually like to have it by noon at the very latest on Saturday morning. But this will allow for 4 to 5 administrative types, which are up at the top, and then all your coaches and players and managers and whatever down at the bottom. But we work through that. I guess the real point that I'm trying to make is those of you that are playing on Tuesday, you're going to get an early copy of what this looks like. Just know it's an initial early copy. It's likely going to change a lot between whenever you receive it and when we do awards. And I work with you on that. When I have questions, you can bring those to me, or if I have questions for you, I'll ask you. And I plan to have a hard copy of where I think things are on Thursday when you come down for that administrative meeting. So we might even make some changes, working together from Tuesday to Thursday, and then I'll have a copy for everybody on Thursday, so they can begin looking at a more final and firm kind of version. But again, just like with the passes, this is a high school event, so only people within your team entourage or contingent, I should say, will receive awards. You can certainly buy more awards after the event, and who gets those is certainly up to you. But this provides some consistency and some limits to the process. And so I just wanted you to be aware of what that form looked like, and give you a first idea of how we'll work together on that throughout the week. Well, I guess the one thing I'd mention then, to the award ceremony then culminates once we've given out all the awards. We'll do a final formal photograph in Carver Arena with your team on the floor, and we'll have opportunities for your fans to take some pictures as well with the team on the floor. So that also is a nice wrap up to the weekend. So that brings my part of the presentation to an end. I don't know if anybody else has any questions. I'm going to hang around for a few minutes. Want to wish everybody good luck tomorrow night. I'm glad that the weather is held. I suppose now that I've said that, some crazy kind of March storm will creep up, but it doesn't appear that that will be the case. I know during regional week it looked bad early, and then I think we only lost one game to weather throughout the entire state last week, and that was only because a roof leaked in Chicago, and so they couldn't play on one of the nights. We had to bump it back a night, and based on, like I said, the way the week was looking last Monday and Sunday, we'll take that every time. So best of luck. I hope things continue to go well for you and your school. And this will be, like I said, we'll have an archived version, and we'll communicate to you where that is tomorrow, and then you can go and look at that at your leisure as the days progress. So I'm just going to hang on for a minute, but otherwise, if you feel like you're good for now, feel free to, just sort of drop off. But otherwise, I'll hang on for a couple more minutes and take some questions. Okay, well, I think it looks like we're in a pretty good spot for this moment. So I'm going to close things by just saying safe travels and good luck on the tournament trail. Look forward to working with whoever continues to advance next week. It's always a fun time, and we look forward to seeing you. Have a good day.